Good morning, everybody. Angela here from Ela Cate Designs, and I am here to share with you my January design team project for Tsunami Rose Designs. This is a vintage sewing themed journal. There's also a lot of kind of French themed ephemera throughout it as well. This guy is a biggin. I just kept adding and adding and couldn't help myself with this one. So the front and back cover is all stitched kind of ruffles that I have made with muslin and other white cotton fabrics, some white satin, some laces, and it's all been stitched onto muslin. It's a hidden binding. You don't see the signature stitched in. And the cover is made with craft text as well as an upcycled cereal box. So it's kind of soft, but it's quite sturdy as well. And I did make a spine charm for this one. I'm doing a different camera angle today because I need to be sitting instead of standing. I worked a 10-hour shift the other day and my foot is not happy with me right now. So anyhow, on the spine charm, we've just got a little pearl here from some broken jewelry, some different vintage buttons, lots of jute twine and some other fabrics. It's gotten quite tangled. A little sewing bobbin, of course, some more buttons, an old vintage key that I got from an antique store, some more buttons. Most of the buttons I've used in here are vintage. There are some contemporary ones though. A little skeleton key. This one's from Michael's. And a vintage thimble that I got from an antique store. Just a little flower charm and a little bell. Some beads, another jingle bell, and another little flower charm. And that is the spine charm with just a tulle bow. And it's all clipped on through an eyelet, so if you don't like it, it can be removed. On the cover, I've also sewn in some buttons along the front edge there. And the closure is this measuring tape ribbon, and I actually found this at Target Dollar Spot quite a while ago, and it's kind of just been hiding out in my stash waiting for the perfect project, and well, this was it. So there is, I didn't count the amount of pages. There isn't a ton of pages in here compared to the size, but that's because it's so packed full of journal cards and tags and different ephemera. As I was adding the fabric, or I'm sorry, the journal cards and ephemera and all that, the journal literally doubled in size. So throughout here, obviously, I will point out all of the Tsunami Rose designs, but I should also mention a lot of the sewing ephemera, which I will point out which ones those are. I had found online, I had done a Google search for vintage sewing ephemera, and this website popped up, and they had scanned a bunch of images from an old, like, 20s catalog. So, the front page here has a Tsunami Rose tag, and everything has been inked or coffee dyed and is blank on the back for journaling. Also graphics fairies. graphics fairy images are in here as well. Just a little needles ad, and those just tuck into a belly band. The image that's in the background here is one of Tsunami Rose's. She released a while ago a couple different kits that were like collaged images. They're absolutely gorgeous. One was a sewing theme, one was kind of similar to her Charming Fragments, where it had a lot of ephemera and like florals. And then there was one with, I believe, like birds and music notes on it. And then one was a Jane Austen themed. They're all absolutely gorgeous. Inside the top of the envelope here is just one of the Tsunami Rose journal cards, one of her big elements. And on the back here is just a pocket with some lace and some more ephemera. These are all Tsunami Rose. So this was a vintage button card that I got from an antique store, and I just left the actual vintage button on it and just added a little tulle on the top there. And then just some more sewing kind of themed ephemera that I got from that website there. There are some tabs going throughout the journal too. There's a lot going on in this journal, let me just say. This was one of her sewing themed pages, and I just did the ruffles along the side. And on the bulb pin is just a little tag and just little snippets of fabric and lace and a little button. She also has the different kind of background and line pages and those kind of things that you can print on the back sides of your printables for journaling. So this is one of the little booklets. I don't know if I counted this one. So there's 4 signatures in this journal. I've got 6, maybe 7 mini booklets. It's chock full. And it measures, I forgot to say, 7 by 9 1/4 with a 2 3/4 inch spine. I used quite a bit of the haberdashery, maybe, paper pack from Hobby Lobby. I'm sure you all know which one it is. It's gorgeous. It has a lot of vintage sewing images in it. This was one of those. And I created this with some sewing pattern tissue. And it's just a mini booklet with little pages to journal on. And in this pocket is also another one of the Tsunami Rose journaling cards. There is a ton of sewing throughout this journal, and I left almost all of the tails, so it's kind of a hot mess, and if you don't like that, you can snip them off. I was really kind of personally digging it for this project, so that's a total personal preference. On the other side here is just one of the Tsunami Rose images that I added. There's 4 large envelopes in each of the center signatures. So, and I've got 3 of these, my flower clips that I do. In the first envelope is another one of those little booklets, and this one is an envelope booklet. And it's just got lots of different ephemera in it. Some more of the Tsunami Rose shipping tags. Other just little kind of French themed ephemera and little pages for you to journal on. That just slips back in there. And clip shut. So these were the images I was talking about that had been scanned from an old catalog. It's just one of the glassine bags, and inside is one of the Tsunami Rose sewing theme shipping tags, and another one of those from the scanned vintage catalog. More of her sewing images here. I've got my little notes over here. In this pocket here, I've just got some more sewing ephemera with the corsets and the thread. And this is one of the Tsunami Rose sewing shipping tags. And on a couple of them, I've just added these little snaps. I thought they were cute, and they went with the theme, obviously. And then the top pocket is one of her large journaling cards here with the sewing images on it. On this side here is another pocket with some more sewing ephemera, and I added my own ephemera. Now, this is not vintage, granted, but it was literally sitting on my desk from a previous project, and I was like, well, it's soft 10 tape and it's Sewology, and so I'm just gonna stick it in there. It's just a little bag. Alright, and more Tsunami Rose. These are absolutely gorgeous, just the vibrancy, and anyhow. I do have this sewing pattern, which is not really sewing pattern, it's a crochet pattern, but it's a simplicity pattern, and this one is actually vintage, and it's got a couple of the large elements, sewing themed journal cards in there. And on the front, I just added some fabric and some buttons I sewed on, and a little flower. Some more sewing ephemera. A lot of the journal cards, as I'm sure you've noticed, I did sew on as well. I've got a music sheet here that I've turned into a pocket and just added a bit of lace to. And inside is another one of the journal booklets. Just has this sewing image on the front. Different kinds of paper. This one has some stamping in it.
Morning.
Morning! And some vintage music sheets. This one is actually vintage, and it has that aged paper, that color to it that's absolutely gorgeous. The rest is just, you know, coffee stained, and then some stamping throughout. And I just added this coffee stain doily. Did some edge punching with the Martha Stewart. Another large envelope, and inside this one is just some of the Tsunami Rose journaling cards that are the sewing themed, and I just connected them with a little brad here. And we've got a flip out page. Did lots of just sewing on the edges of pages. Doily. And the other side of that sewing, or not sewing, but music sheet paper bag. And it's got another booklet. This one is a paper bag booklet. And again, it's just got some journal cards and some of the shipping tags and other kind of Paris themed or French themed ephemera. Lots of different kinds of paper in there. And then in the back is a little pocket as well. And this large envelope is yet another booklet. I went a little booklet crazy with this one. I think because I felt like I didn't have a lot of journaling spots in the journal that I needed to add some. So this one here is made with the craft paper and this little buttons card image, and then same as the others, different papers, coffee dyed, sewing themed ephemera, and that's it. This is gonna be a long video, guys, because I'm already past 16 minutes and I'm just now about halfway through this journal. Had a feeling it was going to be a long one because this one was just packed full. I couldn't help myself. On the back of the envelope, I made a top-loading pocket and added another one of the Tsunami Rose cards and just a piece of French ephemera, kind of a, it's some sort of receipt or whatnot. I can't read French, but it was pretty. This is another envelope here, and clipped on the front is another booklet. And this one has index card that I had covered with the sewing pattern tissue and stitched it on and then stamped it so you can journal on the back. Lots of good coffee dyeing on this page, love it. And some other stamping throughout as well, and just a little wish tag. So that just gets clipped to the front of this envelope, if I can get my fingers to work. And this is just a little tag that I added, and it's stamped with love. On the back of the envelope is some more ephemera and another tag, along with more of the Tsunami Rose images. They're just gorgeous. And more of my ruffles that I'm apparently currently obsessed with. This also has a pocket in the envelope. I don't have anything in that pocket right now, though. Some more ephemera, and this is like a copy of the front of a letter, an envelope to a merchant tailor. So I thought that was kind of fitting. This is an envelope with some ephemera and tag stuck in the side pocket. And then here we've got one of the Tsunami Rose journal cards and just this piece of sewing machine ephemera. Another envelope, and this envelope is just a little journal flip that I made with sewing pattern tissue, and this was definitely inspired from Angie Bunner. I'm sure you all know who I'm speaking of, because she's kind of been a phenomenon in our junk journal circles as of the past few months for sure. So and then on the inside it's just some Coffee Date index cards that I've glued for journaling. The other side of the envelope with more